Okay, probably the last trip on the bike, maybe, I don't know. And it's a big trip. Stacked a whole pile of gear on this bike. I feel really badly for this little two-stroke. Maybe I should show you a photo. God, I hope that holds up. Seems to be okay. It's a little low on air, but that's all right. So this is supposed to be a trip that goes completely around the Kinneret, which is the Sea of Galilee. Not sure that's going to happen. I got a really late start. The group is somewhere still north of me, surprisingly, but I think one of them, well, I know because I was told one of them has hurt their hand, so they're moving very slow. Anyway, let's roll. We're in, I have no idea what this crop is, but yeah, so the way the bike moves around now with the weight on it, I'm not loving, but it is what it is.
Hey, welcome back. So this is a trip that I did a couple years back while I was in Israel, and as many of you know that know me, that I was stationed in Israel for a year working with the Palestinian Authority. But during that time I had the opportunity to do something crazy, which was buy a motorcycle, which many of you may know if you followed me at all. Anyway, this trip is taking place around the Sea of Galilee, and it's about a 350 kilometer trip. I've moved my bike up from Jerusalem. That's how I move it, in that little minivan. And that minivan I've left behind somewhere just north of Tiberias and south of Capernaum. And the story is going to pick up just around this area that I'm going to call Jish. So a little bit about the Sea of Galilee, and this is going to be a little bit because my knowledge is pretty limited. But this is where Jesus appointed 4 of his apostles, and it's also one of the famous areas, or one of the miracles that occurred, probably the first miracle I think, where 5,000 were fed by some loaves of bread and 2 fish. And also above the hills of Tiberias is where I guess he put on some pretty rocking concerts, which is to say that he probably preached to his disciples. What else could I say about the Sea of Galilee? Well, it's 21 kilometers long. The area is a very rich agricultural area, and the lake itself provides drinking water for a lot of Israel. It's also the lowest freshwater lake in the world. So there you go.
Oh, sweetie, I don't know what these things are. Look at these. What do you think of that? Oh, few of them. That looks legit. Okay. Alright, also notice that the police are sitting over there. This thing is not exactly what you would call street legal. I mean, it's registered and street plated, but it has no lights or anything on it. Which will be entertaining for sure.
What I didn't know was this weekend is the observance of the anniversary of the death of Shimon Bar Yochai, which that celebration is called Lag Omer. I'll put a link in it. It's quite an interesting story, but this was a religious figure going back to the 2nd century that figures prominently in the Jewish religion.
Hello.
Hi.
you speak English?
Ugh, I just annoy myself when I ask that question. Here in the West, we're kind of like toddlers in the world. We don't put a lot of effort into learning other languages, and we just assume others will accommodate us. And it's a source of frustration to me now that I've traveled a fair amount in my life.
Yeah.
And what I mean by a source of frustration is that I'd like to learn languages. I'd like it to be a little easier for me. It's just not really part of our culture. And in fact, we're probably resistant to it as we're required to learn English or required to learn French here in Canada, as opposed to seeing it as a real opportunity to learn about other cultures through their language. So there's my tip of the hat to that journey of knowledge and learning other languages and cultures.
Oh, okay. Can I not go that way?
No, this is blocked.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I don't understand the maps, but this is the parking lot and this is blocked. I don't know.
Is that blocked for any reason, or just for an event or something? Or
I think because there's a lot of people they want to go to the Ronnies mountains
okay.
because the holiday.
If you look that way, can I go that way?
I'm gonna ask.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
My understanding is that some staging collapsed, and people trying to stampede away from that collapse ultimately led to the death of 45 and 150 being injured.
In the woods. God, I'm in the infantry. Oh. Oh.
Okay, so at this point I've caught up to the gang, and this is us trying to get through a valley where there's some kind of swampy water at the bottom here, and we're trying to find the trail around. And it turns out the best way through is just go through the water. So this is me coming back to Ronnie, who's riding my bike because it's a little easier to ride and her hand hurts, and we're just trying to get back on the trail.
Holy crap. Ow.
My bike is outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a little mud on it though. Oh, I got a bunch of stuff down my shirt.
There are pigs in.
That would have been a good bit of information to have before I got down on all fours and started bush bashing to try and get through the dense foliage to get to where Ronnie was.
Hungry.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. Yeah, I think it's better to go back, go through the water.
Really?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, where is my bike?
If you follow this path down to the right, you'll come out on the trail by those trees.
You don't encounter a lot of water when you're riding in Israel. It's not entirely arid kind of region, but there are parts of it that are desert-like. The consequence, though, is that people that ride dirt bikes don't have a lot of experience riding through water, so they get a little nervous.
Where is Ronnie?
Sad story. She didn't make it. Everybody wave.
Very happy here.
Well, you met Ronnie already. That's her on the left on the KTM 500 with the white fender, and on the right with the KTM 500, that's Henki, and in the back, that's Yaron on the DRZ.
Okay.
So it's getting, I don't know, late afternoon or mid-afternoon, I suppose, at this point. It is hot, as you could probably tell by my huffing and puffing earlier as I was doing my leopard crawl through the underbrush. At this stage, though, we're trying to get up out of this valley, and to my immediate right, where you can see the dense woods, there's actually a brook running through there, and we're just trying to find a spot to cross so we can get up on the trail that we know is there. And it's going to take a little doing, but we'll get there.
Ah, that's what they are, sweetie. Those blue balls are blue balls. They're thistles. I should have probably realized that when I saw the orange.
found a way across the brook, and this is kind of a little tributary to it, and it's not bad at all. I scouted ahead just to make sure it's going to be the right path, and it is, and so now I'm doubling back because the rest of the crew didn't keep up, and I'm going to go find out why.
אין עוד הרבה, אבל זה לנסוע כאילו בתוך נחל רדוד כזה.
My hand is dead. I
Can't hold on.
can't pull it.
Just want to camp?
That's what we're talking about. To finish here, go on the road and just go to that place to camp and finish the day.
What
I think
place?
Ronnie's had trouble
Yeah,
with
we
her
need-
hand before,
campground,
and
or-
she fell earlier in this day and hurt it a bit more, so it's getting to be a bit of a challenge. Right here, I'm going to try and help her out by riding her bike, but I'm going to ride it right into the shit.
I'm sorry.
We made you do it.
Oh, it's so gross. I'm just trying not to make it too muddy. Ah. Sorry, I covered your bike in mud.
Sorry, men should look like this all the time.
Oh, well, I got your gear dirty.
I don't know. I with my DRV go over here, no problem. With all this equipment.
I was going the wrong side.
No.
Ick. I've got mud all over your shit.
Little bit.
Do you want me to ride it until the mud flies off all over me instead of you?
Because of the man? No, I'm not afraid of man.
Okay. Oh, look, my bike's clean.
Well, she was a very good sport about it because that mud was pretty vile smelling. My boots were full of it. I was kind of covered on my back and my leg, and yeah. Now, on the happy side, we did get down to a gas station that had a pressure washer, and she was able to wash her bike off and some of her gear, so all good. As we're making our way up out of this valley, we're getting into some of this more scrabbly kind of rock and some rougher sections. And this is going to be pretty hard on Ronnie's hand, so there's going to be some back and forth of swapping bikes or me going back to help move her bike up. And that's all good because, you know what, we just need to get out of this as a group and then we'll get to our campsite.
Do you want me to get it to the next spot and then you ride again, or do you want to just walk?
No, I can ride.
Okay.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, I got the bike. Ooh. There we go. Wow. Look at that.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
You want to try this or do you just want to walk?
I'm a little bit afraid of him, you know, I don't know it.
Okay.
It won't go without me?
Well, it might.
It might.
If you roll the throttle on hard, yes.
All right. Well, the two-stroke is a mighty machine, but it's not that bad. So Ronnie's going to keep riding it, and I'm on our 500. But look at that view. I don't think the camera sees as far as the eye does, but you can look down between those two mountains and look right out, I think, to the Sea of Galilee.
I hope that's recording. Oh.
We're on the west side of the Sea of Galilee, and this is the terrain. It's kind of rolling hills. There are some sections just above Tiberias that have some pretty monster hills or small mountains in them, and there's some tough climbs in there and definitely some hard enduro. The scenery is going to get a little tougher and visually a lot more interesting from your point of view as watching this video when we get over to the other side, but that'll be up in the next video. For now though, we're a bit behind schedule, but that's no matter. We're going to pick up a bit of a road later on here and make our way to our first camp.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing.
It was a lot of fun.
The two-strokes growing on her.
The sound of it, it's terrible.
What?
The sound of the two-stroke,
You gotta get it on the pipe.
it's terrible.
You gotta hear it sing. When it starts to sing. That's fun.
Well, there's definitely no accounting for everybody's tastes, but Ronnie's happily back on her 500, and I'm happy to be back on the two-stroke, despite how terrible it sounds. That's a matter of opinion, I guess.
More gas, give her. Just gotta. Yeah, so it's getting dark. I think we should just get on the road so we can get to camp.
I have place to camp, a good place. It's easy walk for you.
I don't.
If you take off your goggles, you see that there is still much light.
No, but it's going to get dark.
Alright, I'm getting a little whiny about getting off the road before it's dark because I know the headlight on that little 250 has about 1 candle power.
About 7 kilometers on road and 4 kilometers off road, and we arrive.
Okay.
The GoPro runs out of juice right about here, but we're not too far from the campsite as you heard, And here is the campsite, and really all it is just a space to camp along the trail that goes from north to south in Israel. And that trail is something that all Israelis try to hike at least once in their life. It's kind of a rite of passage. It takes about a month, but all along the trail are these kinds of camps, and this little kitchen and bar is all on your honor. Well, that's the end of part 1. Part 2 is going to take us over to the east side and north up into the Golan Heights, where I really ought not to have been, but that'll be the next video.